Okay, everybody, welcome back. Again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my guest, Michael Alfieri. He is the host of The Bigs Show.
Yes!
He's a personal trainer. He's got a whole huge resume. We're gonna try to unpack it. We might need it. We might need an extra show for this one. But so you had said something just before the break. You were talking about back in the good old days of actual mail, real mail.
Yeah.
The protocol was you mailed out 500 photos of yourself to different publishers and everything, and you just sat and you had to wait, and one person got back to you, and that's only one, right? So this business personality and media guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's also from New Jersey, Russian born, but moved to Queens when he was like a baby, and then quickly moved to Jersey. His dad was in the wine business, so he got started there, helping his dad with this shop.
I think I know his story. Yes.
Yeah. He says the same thing, and he's always saying, like, it was like just like you said it too. Kids, this is what, like, you have to send out 500. And, he says messages or DMs or whatever, but you might only hear back from one, and that's how it starts.
Right. That's how it all began. I mean, I had to actually send out photographs. I mean, it's so easy today,
right.
Today it's a click and you could send out, it's unlimited what you could do today.
Right.
Like I said, it's a miracle that I made it in the fitness world as a model and getting involved in it, because I mean, what were the chances, really were slim to none, but somebody saw something beautiful in that photograph that thought that there was potential to work off of it. And I am so grateful, because I'm such a grateful person. I was so grateful that he just to even talk to me, let alone actually it's a funny thing what happened. When I went for this interview, he looked at me and he says to me, he's looking at my pictures. I tell this story on my podcast. It's incredible. He's looking at the pictures, if you can imagine. I'm sitting across from him like we're talking, and he's looking up at me. He's looking back down, and I'm following him like, and then he goes, cover. I said, what? He said, cover. I said, cover what? He said, no, I think you could be the cover. I go, I would love to be the cover. He said, but you got to wait like a year or two. A year or two? I'm thinking, this guy could forget me in like a year. I want to be in the magazine now. So he goes, I have another option, Jeremiah. I could put you in a couple months. Right now, a spread, centerfold spread. I'll take it. So I opted for that because I didn't want to wait for covers or centerfolds or, I didn't want to wait for an opportunity that could possibly be down the road. So I was lucky enough that I was smart enough by myself to say, the hell with that. What will it take for me to be in like the next edition?
Yeah, that's awesome. You got to grab that bull by the horn sometimes, especially when you waited all that long. You sent out 500 photos. Like, how long was it till he reached out to you and you were sitting across the desk from him? From when
probably about 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, now people are so used to instant gratification. You send it, if you don't hear back like the next day, you're like, So
and it was a very awkward feeling because I go there, Empire State Building, 30-something floor, and I'm in this huge room, this place waiting room, these big oak doors. I get invited in. His name was Mr. Lowe. I'll never forget it. I'm standing across from him, and he looks at me and says, "But in order for me to put you in the magazine," he goes, I gotta see your physique." And I said, "Well, you got the pictures right there." Now, here's the lesson of this, because I wasn't thinking at the time. I was so nervous. I was sweating. He goes, "Go ahead, don't worry." So I'm taking my clothes off. I'm standing there practically naked. He's like, "Oh, beautiful. I see a spread, the cover, the whole thing." And then he goes, "I gotta call the rest of the crew in to see." I said, "What? You gotta do? Who are you calling in?" All of a sudden, he makes a phone call. 5 people come in the room. I'm standing there practically naked. I'm so embarrassed. They love it. They're like, "Oh, this guy's great." And then I was like, when I walked downstairs into the lobby, I said, man, what an embarrassing moment this was. But then I'm thinking to myself, though, hold on. Then I'm thinking, you could send all the pictures you want, but how do you know that the pictures I sent weren't 5 years old? Right. How do I know that he doesn't know that that picture may have been old? So how could he spend all this money on me without seeing that they're new? He has to, you understand? Because people could send pictures. So that was I didn't put it together at the time. You have to see that those pictures are really what you do look like today. And that's how that, materialized.
Well, hey, at least it wasn't the other way around. And he wasn't saying, I'm going to take my clothes off. If you know what I'm saying? Apparently that was industry standard at the time.
At that point, I'd be posing for the Heisman Trophy.
Right. Oh, and the other thing I just keep thinking about are like all the firefighter topless calendars. Did you ever do one of those like early on?
You know what? I never did because honestly, I never was, not just, I wasn't offered, not that I wasn't offered it. It's just that I was just so busy doing other things. And I was trying to build my business, preaching, your show's about entrepreneurships and making money and trying to be a success. And I was trying to figure out how I can take this and support a family. I mean, there was more of a big picture here. So I wasn't so concerned with, trying to, do these the high profile calendars and things. I was trying to figure out what's a simplistic way, which is where I started my company, Biggs Enterprises, which is my show called The Big Show. The Biggs stands for being in great shape. Everybody thinks my show is called The Big Show. It's called The Biggs with an S, and it stands for being in great shape. So when I was little, when my kids were little, my son used to call me Biggs, big guy. And that's where I got the name. So that's where the whole thing evolved. And I started doing personal training now. And I did in-house training. I was exclusively I didn't work in gyms, a little bit here and there, but I went in homes. And that's where I was dealing with the high profile, the CEOs, Hollywood, Bollywood. And that's where I was making the finances to help support the family outside of doing the extracurricular things, because some of the fitness model things didn't pay. They didn't pay.
I wanted to back you up there and ask, because you I always love to get from every industry. Like I know what it takes and could make suggestions in terms of like opening a restaurant or opening a wine store. But for you making that transition, like going from being in the military into this modeling world, what did that look like, and the monetization, and how did you get to the point? Like what were some of the core things you had to do to take care of your family doing that?
Well, because the fitness modeling thing was the avenue for me to sell myself to do the personal training. Mm-hmm. So that was, it wasn't the money involved with that. It was the money involved with what that could cause. It was like a chain reaction. So I was able to sell myself with the personal training and the fitness through being in the magazines. A lot of times they don't pay anything. Yeah. So you have to take what you're doing, and you have to utilize it to an avenue that you can make money in. So when I was selling myself as a trainer or as an expert or public speaker, I did a lot of public speaking. Somebody wants to say, well, you're a public speaker. Have you done it? What have you done? Well, I've been in this magazine. I've been in that magazine. Right. I did this. I have a sponsor. So that's where the finances would come in. The fitness modeling, if you want to be a fitness model today, you need to have an avenue outside of that to make the money. That's not going to bring in the money unless you are really on the top of the mountain. And most of us, including myself, wasn't. So we had to utilize all that exposure, take that and put it into another branch on the tree, and then make money with that. That was the selling point. I could use that to say, I've been in this magazine, that magazine, because they're not going to cover you. They're not going to put you in these magazines unless you're worthy of it. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. And that's very Tony Di Silvestro advice. He said to me, because I was meandering all over the place, as a young person. And I left Virginia to come to New York to study music and pursue a music career. Right. And he saw my potential, and he was like, you can do whatever you want. He offered me a partnership in like 99 or something like that in one of his places, but I didn't want to get stuck there. And I wanted to pursue music. And one point he just said to me, just keep this in mind. It's better to own 20% of 5 things than 100% of one.
Absolutely.
And that is, he said a lot of really great things to me, and I ignored like 80% of it at the time. But that one
of
stuck.
Course. Well, of course, because you're not comprehending it either.
Yeah. Now I play all of his lessons back to me constantly, but that one really stuck. And it helped me because I became successful as a freelance musician. And same thing, I was hustling, I was teaching, I was doing gigs, I was doing recording sessions, I was working at all these different angles, but I never left the food and beverage industry wholesale. And so I always had that. And it's been what survived. I mean, right now, forget about it. If I didn't have my hands in like 8 things right now, I'd be overwhelmed.
If I was to put the eggs all in fitness modeling, I'd have been starving.
Right.
I would have been broke. I would have been, there was the finances. It wouldn't have equated to anything to support a family or live. It's just not there. It was it's the exposure. So see, when I started getting the magazines, I would get supplement companies and ask me, hey, would you run it? Would you want to? Yeah. You see, so or clothing. It's all that put me out into the world of fitness. That people would recognize my face. They would, I know who he is. And then also people remembered me from the Cosmos. So they even go back to the professional soccer days when I practiced with them. And they would go, I remember Michael Alfieri. You were a goalie, right? I remember, yeah. So now, I built this foundation in my house with these bricks that were solid. But I at the time when I got in fitness modeling and fitness, I knew that I had to do something else. I knew that wasn't going to be the answer. So that's why when I started Biggs Enterprises, that was going to be my avenue for really making the money, supporting family, putting the kids through school, all that kind of stuff. That was the in-house personal training end of it, the logo, the merch. So the tree kept growing, but it kept growing from me thinking outside the box. If you think that you're going to be a fitness model today and make, it's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. You need to take the exposure that you get from somebody gives you from the fitness modeling and then branch off and make that a career for you and a success through the exposure.
Kind of like a radio show, right?
Kind of like a radio show. I don't know. I haven't been. The big show is it's been costing me like $14 a month, but that's about it.
And just for context, you were talking about building that foundation from the time you were with the Cosmos till you started your own company. How many years are we talking there of you building?
Well, I practiced with the Cosmos. I practiced with them. Unfortunately, I didn't sign with them, but I got the opportunity to practice with them in 82. Went into service 84, left the service 88, actually out of the service in 90. And then I started the business in like 97, 98.
So like a solid 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I was, when I got out of the service, I had this fitness whole, dream, and then I was, going to do the fitness modeling and all. And meanwhile, I was working at like a factory, making like $10 an hour at the most. I was, it was all a dream. I didn't have somebody like Tony either to talk to. I was kind of on my own, and my family wasn't really, honestly, my parents and my family were not supportive at all. I grew up in a very abusive household, mentally and physically. So I did not have any support. I fought this war alone, on my own. So everything that I have today, I honestly can say I really did it on my own. I really did. I didn't have that help. My parents were not there. I practiced with the Cosmos. That would be equivalent to you, Jeremias, having a son practicing with the New York Yankees today. And you, as a father, never go watch him practice at Yankee Stadium.
Right.
My folks never showed up. Think about it. If you can put that in, if you kind of can put this, listeners can put this in perspective. Think of your favorite sport. Think of your favorite team. Think of your child practicing with this team, possibly signing with the team, but you tell them, I just can't make it. I'm too busy. I'm working. I don't have time for games. My friends would show up, but my folks never saw me play and practice at Giant Stadium. Can you just try to comprehend that for a second?
Yeah, no, I can't. It's beyond me.
So I was beaten down as a young kid. So I really had to, to figure out a way to make it. I certainly could have gone in a whole different direction.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, that's the whole idea of pressure making diamonds, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back in just a few, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.